Tim Linder here. So what I'm going to talk to you about is this multiple motion assignment where you're going to be taking several different images of the same scene with the subject moving throughout. So I've got 4 different images here of this girl jumping in the pool. And what I'm going to be doing is making sure that each one of these images all gets placed into one Photoshop file, and I'm going to be masking out the background of 3 of them so that it overlays this subject several times as she jumps into the pool. So what we're going to be doing first is making sure that all 4 of these images gets placed into one Photoshop file as separate layers. So I'm going to figure out which one that I want as my backmost layer, and this is probably the one that I want as my backmost layer because as she jumps into the pool, as she moves forward into the water, each sequential version of herself will be placed over the one previous. So this is where she starts here on the diving board. So that's the one that I've chosen as being the backmost layer. And if you don't do this right the first time, it doesn't really matter that much because you can always rearrange your layers. So another thing that I'll do is that I might go up to Window, Arrange, and then choose something like 4 up, or if I've got more than 4 images, I might choose to see all those at once. Once I've got them visible, another thing that I can do is turn on my zoom tool and then check the box that says zoom all, and that way if I hold option and zoom out, it zooms out on all my different images. So I'm able to see them all at once and kind of see what I'm working with. What I'm going to be doing, again, I've chosen this image up here as my backmost layer, and I'm going to be putting the other ones on top of it. So what I might do is go and choose the next layer, which is this one, the next image that's going to be my second layer in this image. So I'll select it so it's active, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the background layer and put it right on top of this one, and I'll let go. Okay, so now you can see this image up here has 2 layers. Now that I'm done with this one down here, I can close it out and get rid of it. I really don't need it anymore. Now the next one I'm going to do is this one where she's kind of in midair, so I'll make sure that I make that image active and highlight it, and I see its background layer here, and I'm going to drag it over and put this one on top next. And when I'm done, I'm going to get rid of it. Next, I'm going to select my last layer, which is down here, and I'm going to drag it on top, and now I've got all 4 layers in the same image. I can get rid of this last one, and now I'm working on just this one Photoshop file with my separate images as different layers. And so what I can do next is I'm going to start to work on layering on top the next sequence. So obviously in this one I don't want the entire layer to overlap my background layer. All I really want from this second layer in the stack, or the one that's labeled layer 1 here, is just this figure, just her as she is kind of leaning off the diving board. So in order to do that, what I might do is zoom in and grab something like the quick selection tool, and you're going to want to go through and make a better selection technique than I'm doing. I'm going to kind of go through this quickly and make just a kind of a quick selection of her. I might go in and you might want to choose some other tools like the Refine Edge tool, or you might want to choose the magnetic lasso tool or something like that to make your selection. You're going to go through and spend more time to make a more accurate selection than what I'm doing right here. But for the most part, I've got a basic selection of what I want. And now what I'll do is I'm going to mask everything out except for her by going down here to the bottom and choosing this mask tool. So I have this layer active, and I'm choosing mask, and now it masks her out. And so the only thing in this layer now is her, and I could still go back into this layer mask and select it and maybe get things like my brush tool. I'm hitting the brackets next to the P on the keyboard here, and maybe I might use black and mask out some of these areas that I kind of made a mistake, or adjust some of these areas that I want to fix my mask in. So you can go through and do things like this to really make your mask more effective. Now that I've gotten this in, what I want to do is do it to the same the other 2 layers. So I'm going to make this layer active, and I'm going to go through and again make a selection again with my quick mask tool. I'll go in and make her a selection. Again, you'd probably want to go through and make something a little bit more accurate. and choose mask. And now I've got this next layer. And then for the last one, I might not even use my my quick mask mode. I might even go in and choose like a free form selection with the lasso and make this a mask, because it's going to be really hard to get to water. Another thing that I like doing is maybe I might even create a mask that's already black and masks everything out. So on an example like this, I might want to hold Option and click Create Mask, and notice it's created this black mask that's hidden all of that layer, everything that was in that splashed water. So I might be able to go up and just paint it back in with a paintbrush. So I'll get really kind of a large fuzzy brush. I'll hit my brackets on my keyboard and get like a nice large fuzzy brush, and I'll get my white paintbrush. You notice I'm going to be painting white in the black mask here, and as I paint that in, it's just kind of starting to make that area appear down there. So I'll be able to go in and repaint in some of those splashes, and it's kind of a nice soft thing, soft edged brush, so that it really blends with the background. So now I have a nice composite of these 4 images inside of one Photoshop file. Another thing that you're going to want to make sure you do too is on certain occasions you may want to make sure that you're also masking in some of the shadows of the subject. That kind of helps. You may even want to go around and choose your mask and double click on it and maybe feather it a little bit, or you may even want to go into your mask and choose, like I said, a nice soft, small, fuzzy, or soft edged brush so that you can go around the edges and make something a little bit smoother. That helps too if there's some motion blur in your subject as she's moving, or if your subject is moving through the scene and there's a lot of blurred edges. A soft brush in the mask will help that process. So that's the quick and short of doing a multiple motion assignment.